What's up guys, DJ here, Top Deck Cards and Games, and today I'm going to do a video just discussing the two cards from INOV, I don't know what it stands for, Invasion something? Invasion of Venom? Does that sound right? Invasion Vengeance? I don't know, it's Invasion something. It's a great question. Probably should have figured that out before I did this. Huh. Doesn't matter. But yeah, I just want to talk about the two cards that I think will make the biggest impact on the meta from the set, that being Totally Awesome and Dimensional Barrier. These cards are both, unfortunately, secret rares, so if you're the kind of person who doesn't like to spend a lot of money on his Yu-Gi-Oh cards, you're in for a difficult time on this one. I think that a good portion of the meta will be playing one, if not both of these cards. I know the Frog Paleozoic deck is probably going to play a playset of each of them. I think a lot of Toad decks will at the very least side Barrier, but so these cards go hand in hand in a way in that they're both incredibly strong cards going first. And I think that that's why these two cards are going to be so important to consider coming into the rest of the format, because moving forward you need to have a good plan going second. These cards have ensured that the die roll is going to be important. It's always important in Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's important in the sense that you need a plan. If you're going to play one of these cards in your deck, let me put it this way. If you're going to play one of these cards in your deck, you're going to be planning on going first when you win the roll. And I think that's fine. These cards are very powerful. Obviously, if you're playing something like ABC, setting up Buster Dragon plus Dimensional Barrier is great. Summoning Toad and setting Dimensional Barrier is great. Summoning Toad, setting anything is great. Setting Dimensional Barrier with any sort of presence is great. And so that's fine. These cards both, like I said, guarantee that the person playing them wants to take first. With that being said, you're not put in a position, if you're playing even a deck that wants to go first, where you need to have a plan in mind for beating these cards when you're going second. For a lot of decks, that's going to mean, in the case of Tree Toad, playing something like a Kaiju, just having access to monsters you can easily summon without using too many effects that your opponent would want to negate that have over 2300 attack, or 2300 attack or more rather. Toad's fairly easy to out. It's an inconvenience, but it's easy enough to put something big enough to pressure it in play, and it's easy enough to Kaiju it or something, which your opponent does get a card back if you do, so it's not all wins for you. But it's not the end of the world either in that situation when that has to happen, so you take it where you can. As far as Dimensional Barrier is concerned, I think the difficulty with this card is that it's locked out an entire archetype of decks, like an entire cluster of decks, not one specific archetype, but pendulum decks in general are going to suffer very heavily because of Barrier. And I find it very interesting, actually, that Metal Foes won the most recent ARG event, putting 2 copies in the finals, through a field of Dimensional Barriers. It seems very, very difficult to me. I'm actually astonished, excuse me. It's late. I've been watching presidential election stuff all night. My brain is fried. In all seriousness, though, I'm very surprised to see that Metal Foes is able to compete in a field where so many decks are packed in triple Barrier. And I personally want to make the call to play Metal Foes in a tournament where I might play against an opponent packing triple Barrier, triple Fragrance. That's just an uphill losing battle every time I sit down and my opponent flips one of those cards. And I don't think that Metal Foes can reliably protect itself well enough after your opponent barriers you and stops your play to find a way to actually win the game. So that being said, I would stay very far away from decks like that now. That puts you down to a limited number of options, I guess. So it's even hard to play ABC second into a Dimensional Barrier, right? Because a lot of your plays that set up an ABC Dragon require Tsukiyomi or a Geargigan or something. You know, they require you to go into your extra deck first. So your opponent can lock you out without letting you even summon your ABC Dragon against, let's say they're playing ABC, they have that in play. Let's say they're playing Frogs. You get Dimensional Barrier against a field of Tree Toad and various other stuff. That's hard to deal with. So that's even a tough spot to be in. So you're basically I don't want to say forced, because obviously you're still going to see Metal Foes topping events, you're still going to see ABC topping events, still going to see various other decks that use these mechanics topping events, Burning Abyss notably, very weak to barrier as well. I personally feel the strongest if I'm playing a deck that can operate without its extra deck. Obviously, nothing is going to operate ideally without the extra deck, but I already made a Mermail video. I'm not sure what order they'll get posted in, but I think Mermail is one deck that has a very strong ability to play without going into its extra deck at all, or it makes use of multiple types of extra deck cards, so when your opponent barriers you, takes away your Exceeds, you can still Synchro Summon. When your opponent barriers you and takes away, either way. One way or the other, you can make use of the other type of extra deck monsters. So decks that can really run the whole gauntlet of their extra deck can beat barrier. I think the other notable deck that's going to be very powerful against barrier, not powerful against barrier, but impacted least by barrier, is Blue Eyes. Because, one, just summoning 3,000 beaters, 2,500 beaters is powerful enough. Like, you can win games with Blue Eyes without touching your extra deck just by beating your opponent down with gigantic dragons. It's not impressive, it's not flashy, but in a lot of situations, a 3,000 attack Blue Eyes is big enough. And when you're making it for such a small investment as just discarding it for a draw spell and reborning it, it's never a bad trade. So you're able to take advantage of games with Blue Eyes after your opponent has put themselves behind a card by using Dimensional Barrier. Additionally, your opponent can only take away Synchro or Exceed. So they're obviously going to play this card in a smart way, right? They're going to use their barrier in a situation where they cut off a play you were obviously trying to make, or they take away what's going to be the most advantageous to you. But with a smart extra deck and smart use of your resources, you can still put yourself in a position to, your opponent barrier your Synchros, and then you can go into Dark Matter, or vice versa. You can then make a Spirit or something. So I think Blue Eyes actually has a lot of really strong applications now, and I think that those are two decks that would be very much so on my radar from now on. And I'm sure there's other decks that can function without their extra deck, or that can really make use of barrier, only locking you out of one type of card going forward. And I think that that'll be really key. And same for Tree Toad, right? You're going to want to play decks that have reliable answers to Tree Toad. Given that these are both in the format and that ABC is in the format, I think one thing that you could see a lot more of going forward is something like Blue Eyes with Kaijus in it. And I mean like an actual Kaiju engine. So Kaijus contribute over Toad, they can contribute over ABC Dragon. You can play your Blue Eyes deck, through a Dimensional Barrier various different ways. You can use the Kaiju monsters to extend plays in the deck. And I think that's a deck, just like Mermails, that I could see being really powerful and popular moving forward. Anyways, I guess, like I said, I wanted these to be discussion videos, so I'm going to leave it at that. I want to hear what you guys have to say about these cards, how you're going to deal with them, and what you guys think the impact of basically being forced to have a good game plan going second is right now. Because, like I said, you're going to be playing into one of these cards when you lose the roll in a lot of matchups. And, I think we need to have a good plan for dealing with them. I think we need to have good decks built for playing against them. And I think that coming up with those answers is going to be a big part of moving forward in this format as a player with an advantage. Because I think that getting a deck building edge like that, or a strategy edge like that, is much more important than sitting here discussing, what's the most efficient way to, make a small trade here, or stressing over what one extra deck slot we can use in our decks. I think that coming up with a strong theory answer for how we deal with a format where we're going second in Dimensional Barrier, going second in a Totally Awesome, and to a lesser extent ABC Dragon. I think these are the answers that make champions in a format. These are the questions you need to answer if you want to reach the next level. You can just play meta and grind with other players and playtest to find various little 1 or 2% win rate changes, but at the end of the day, we really want to next level the format. In general, I think that's something that's kind of forgotten a lot of times in Yu-Gi-Oh!, where players just aim to grind out, kind of get the best list of a standard deck and just try to, their 55% win rate, or their, obviously that's not the win rate you're really looking for. I'm saying a lot. But you're fishing for a 70% win rate, and you need to get to 72 or something, leave your opponents a couple percent behind you. And I think that trying to find the theoretic next level to go over our opponents is where we need to be. And in an ideal situation, since I'm talking about these cards, if we can find a way to capitalize on that and build a deck that can go second into these cards flawlessly, we might be able to go all the way over them and then force the format to adjust to us. And I think that's really something very powerful, and you can even, take a whole event by storm like that. So that's where I'm going to leave this. I want to see what you guys have to say. I will definitely be checking the comments for this and answering your guys' questions or checking out your thoughts. But yeah, let me know down below how you guys think you're going to deal with these cards, how you think the format will accommodate them, what you think we can do, how we can go over the top of them, if that's even an option. If you guys think that we really just need to build to go first and it's a die roll format, let me know down below. I'll let you know that I strongly disagree with the sentiment ever that it's a die roll format. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Thanks a ton for watching.